shop type of thing, but apparently it's more of a keynote. So we switched it just a little bit. You were supposed to be having papers and run around with each other and all of this, so I don't know if you want to come closer together so we can be a family about this, or you're all comfortable where you are. Raise your hands if you're saying, no, I'm not moving, I'm comfortable. Okay? You're more than welcome to stay where you are. I want to make it a little more of a family because this is one heck of a topic. So thank you for your patience in this, and thank you for being in this massive room that I'm surprised that I'm in. Okay. We're just going to get this thing all set up. And we're trying to get it set up. But as they're trying to get this set up, wow. All right. I'm going to go here. As they're trying to get this set up, there's a few front loads that I'd like to do, okay? And some of the front loads is this. How many of you have ever felt burned out as a teacher? Okay, good. Burnout is one thing. Compassion, fatigue, and vicarious trauma is completely different. So now I'm going to ask you a question that's similar. How many of you have ever went home and cried or got frustrated or angry over a situation of a child to the point where you couldn't eat or sleep for at least 1 or 2 days? Then you have experienced vicarious trauma. We are in a profession now more than ever where our mental health will directly impact how we teach and how our students see our pedagogy. One of the biggest things we're not doing is raising awareness of mental health in teachers. Some of you who have seen me, they've seen me present, they know I'm the Tasmanian devil on a double espresso. I'm extremely happy, I'm upbeat, there's music, there's everything. And I'm not saying that we can't have that also here, but I'm hoping that this will be a moment where we can just think, because this is one of those moments where you'd be surprised about what you're about to hear. And I'm going to be in a very vulnerable place to make sure that we raise awareness for mental health in teachers. And I hope you will allow me to be vulnerable so that some other people in this room could also feel safe and comfortable to know that you too, if you are suffering from any mental health, are not alone. And I think it's important that this becomes a serious conversation rather than this crazy double espresso lady who dances around everywhere and edutains, where this time it's time to get serious because no one is talking about this. No one. With that said, we're going to get this presentation ready as soon as we possibly can. But I'm going to start a little bit different about myself so that you can be aware of that. So I've been teaching for 21 years, and I've been teaching in Massachusetts. I'm originally from New York, hence the reason for the strong accent. But like every other New Yorker, we took over Florida. And I was living in Orange County, and now I live in Madison County, Florida, on a 27-acre ranch. And it's a franch. It's not a farm. It's not a ranch. It's a franch, which I have special needs animals that all come to me. People drop off their animals. I have cows with missing hoofs. I have goats that do not faint because they were created that way, but because they do have epilepsy. I have blind horses, and I have abused animals. And one of the reasons was because someone saw that I take them. So I literally have, like old-fashioned people that would take a baby in a basket and drop it off from somebody's stoop, they drop off animals at my house. And I have these random animals. Most of the animals are horses with something called HEAVs, COPD for horses, in which they don't live long, and no one wants to deal with the medical aspect. I can't afford it either, but what I can give them is the love, and let them die peacefully, and let them go literally out to my pasture, eat as much as they want, and not suffer when they do. And then they go. My experience with that, and the point of that, is because of my absolute, positive, unbelievable fear of death. And for me to actually be able to see it allowed me to understand it a little bit more. So as I go through the process of these old horses that are just going out to pasture, it's very heartbreaking, but it also is showing me the love, the compassion, the empathy, and the affection that any human, any living thing needs in order for it to feel good. And then I wound up feeling better myself because I had to find ways to work on the thing that I was the most afraid of. I want you to turn to somebody right now before they get this ready and just tell that person in the most vulnerable thing, what are you the most afraid of? Just turn to someone and ask if you would like, or just keep it to yourself. What are you the most afraid of? No, it should be the actual introduction. It should be one slide that's an introduction. It says Vicarious Trauma. Okay, that's fine. That's it. Let's just leave the cat. There it is. Do you have a clicker? Okay. Because I didn't bring mine because they said that you had one. Which way does it go? Next? There you go. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to sit in here. Thanks a lot. So how vulnerable was that process? To actually go and tell a stranger how you felt, right? But at the same time that might have been vulnerable, was it a little bit liberating to put it out there in the universe? We have to realize that we're not alone in so many things. Does anybody want to share one thing that maybe they're the most afraid of? Yes. 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 Woof, that's deep. But to know that that's still in your head, now imagine having children, imagine working with children, imagine losing those children, imagine dealing with what those children have gone through. We know that we have children coming from war-torn countries, natural disasters, situations of poverty that we would never even understand in our privileged society. When we say we come from poor, and I came from the poor parts of West Texas Avenue here in Orlando, that's nothing compared to some of what our kids have and have gone through. We take that with us as English language learners, dual language, emerging bilingual educators. We take every situation home with us. We are the counselors. And there is a huge comparison between the compassion, fatigue, and vicarious trauma of nurses, firefighters, and police officers as there is with a teacher. How do I know this? Because an Orange County Public School teacher here in Orlando allowed me to tell her story right now. She was in a school, a high school here in Orange County, and she said to her principal, I've got to go. Something's wrong with me. I cannot get rid of this anxiety, and checked herself into a mental institution. For 3 days, she was there for the weekend because she thought she was going crazy. Her friends who became her best friends were cops, firefighters, doctors, and nurses. All of them thinking the exact same thing. And what the counselor was telling this girl is that nobody is addressing compassion, fatigue, and vicarious trauma. And that's what we're going to talk about. We have got to get teachers' mental health in order. If we don't, we are going to lose our teachers. The attrition rate of teachers is higher, not because of standardized testing and demand. It's because we lack the emotional intelligence to handle it because we were never taught how. And this is the stuff that we've got to bring back to our districts to make sure that the conversation gets had. I told you again, I'm a real fun person. You're going to go and it's going to be heavy. You're going to need a very strong cup of coffee after this. But I hope you understand that this is all for the good. Sometimes we've got to cry, and sometimes we've got to cry out to make a change, okay? So in education, as in anything, there comes this moment in each day where you need a little downtime. Some people like to do yoga. I talk about those people after they leave. And some people like to go to happy hour, and I follow those people after they leave. Yeah. But for me, one of my favorite things to do is actually go and sit next to my cat that doesn't love me. And I sit at my computer next to the most beautiful thing, and I drink and eat the most beautiful thing ever invented by man, okay? It is the Decaf Espresso, as you know I need decaf, with a cannoli. Now let me give you a little lesson here, ladies and gentlemen. A cannolo. Too often we call it a cannoli. But in Italian, cannoli means more than one. A cannolo means one. How do I know? Because I usually eat 4. So I certainly know that there are cannolis. But it is a beautiful thing to have when I sit at my computer and I go on my favorite website. It's a plethora of beautiful photos of people and places from around the world, submitted by people from around the world simply to inspire, motivate, empower, and celebrate. And so when I was asked to talk about this very, very intense topic, and I am so grateful for NABE for accepting this proposal. It is NABE that allowed this awareness to happen. I really didn't kind of know what to say about it, because what do you say to your colleagues? You get a little intimidated, right? So I looked at that for inspiration on my computer. You know, you talk about things from like, what is it, from Leonardo da Vinci, right? For inspiration. Maybe even a little Leonardo DiCaprio for inspiration. So I took another sip of my Decaf Espresso and ate another cannolo, and I thought about certain things. What do I do to inspire you to go back to your districts and talk about a very strong topic? Took another sip, did my thing, but cats, people with cats know cats do this, right? Yes, they do. They certainly do. And when I actually thought about it, and my cat, believe me, did something like this, and when that happened, the cat actually went all around, didn't hit F7, F6, I don't know what number hit, but it did actually turn on to this on my favorite website. When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. And that was it. The walls of intimidation of what I'm to say to you came crashing down. Now, I have absolutely no idea if John Lennon said that. This is the internet. Last week, Abe Lincoln was talking about CrossFit. So needless to say, but it did inspire me, and be careful what you get on the internet. This is all we want. And this was me, right there in the center. With all those children, 17 different countries, 11 different languages. Beautiful. I have loved those kids still to this day. They have since graduated and gone on to do amazing things. And I'm so happy for every single one of them. But they are and will always be my baby. But look at the happiness in that room. But behind that face, none of those kids knew the real me. I hid something from them so badly, but if it weren't for one child from Brazil who said, "Missy, your eyes are different today. Something's wrong," he saved me from myself. And that's the story I want to tell you, because I know other teachers feel the same. I want you to be aware of something. This. My name is Dorina, and I have a mental illness. I have something called panic disorder, and I'm terrified to tell you in person. But in order for me to get other teachers to realize that I am prone to depression, me, the funniest woman on the world, "Oh, you should be on Saturday Night Live. Look at you. Oh, girl, we need you in the classes. You keep me alive. You're so energetic. You can't have depression." They don't get it. Because I didn't ask for it. It is a chemical imbalance in my brain, and if we do not realize that mental illness is the exact same thing as diabetes or someone having an illness that they have to, just because we can't see it. I am prone to depression because of my anxiety, where other people get depression and then anxiety. My anxiety is so bad that I am prone to panic attacks. Have you ever had a panic attack? If you have not, you understand that there's something called a perspective gap. Adam Grant talks about that. Look up Adam Grant's perspective gap, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. It's when you cannot in any way fathom what it feels like to have depression. So you don't get it, and because you don't feel it or experience it, you don't see its severity. Pick up by the bootstraps. I didn't have boots to begin with, people. Come on. And there are people out there that feel that way. 100%. And so when we talk about mental illness, let me give you a few stats to bring back to your classrooms. This entire thing is available on YouTube under EQ over IQ, how emotional intelligence will save your profession. Just look up my name, and this is for YouTube, for you to bring back to your schools. Okay? 44.7 million people, according to the National Institute of Mental Health in 2016, 44.7 million people. Of the 44.7, 1 in 5 will have depression. And that 1 in 5 is female. And interestingly enough, because who dominates this profession? Female. Okay? Why I want you to say that is according to NIMH again in 2016, severe impairment and non-severe impairment. Check this out. Diagnoses. Imagine those that were not diagnosed. Diagnoses from a doctor, 36% without severe, 64 with severe. And what do I mean by severe? To the point where you just can't get out of bed, mental illness. To the point where you're afraid of your own shadow, mental illness. There are various types of mental illness, as you can see right there. All different names. And you have the naysayers who will turn around and say to you, oh gosh, it's a doctor who's teaching you OCD to keep your kid to get $200 every time to go to a session. Your kid doesn't really have OCD. You don't have panic disorder. You're just a nervous energy kid. You have too much coffee. You lay off the caffeine. No wonder why your espresso's decaf. But all of that is diagnoses. Do I think people take advantage? Sure. Do I think people have victim mentality sometimes and don't know how to get out of it? Sure. But that's their issue. These are official diagnoses according to the American Health Society. So we have to understand all of these things are called mental illness. The definition of mental illness alone is misunderstood. I want you to look at the person next to you and say, mental illness 3 times, and don't tell me you're not going to get freaked out a little bit, right? Just look at the person next to you and just say mental illness 3 times. Now I want you to look at that same person and just go, physical illness. Which one was spookier? Once you say it 3 times, maybe it made you feel a little bit better. But physical illness, okay, I've got an issue, I've got a physical ailment. I'm okay with that, but I've got a mental, whoa, crazy, loca. You know? And that's what people are thinking. So we want to make sure that we have this conversation. All of these different things, it's hard for you to see in this graphic, but all the ones that I was talking about with compassion fatigue. Let me show you a staggering statistic. In 2015, 34% of teachers said that they had some sort of mental health issue and reported it. In 2017, it went up to 58%. The statistics are so big right now, they cannot do a 2018 resource because teachers are leaving, or so many of them are saying, I can't do this anymore. I was just in Target yesterday seeing a woman who said, oh, I'm a teacher too, wishing my niece a happy birthday. They just saw each other, and she says, no, I'm not a teacher anymore. I'm in pharmaceutical sales. She left. And you say to yourself, why? She said, I couldn't mentally take it anymore. And if we think about that, look at the statistics right here in education. Why I'm telling you this is because the ages 18 to 25, 22.1% are the women who are getting diagnosed with mental disorder or a mental illness at some point. Women between the ages of 18 to 25. Who becomes our teachers? Our pre-service teachers. And if you take a look at this staggering effect, the female, take a look at this. The female at 22.1%. Watch this. Those are our pre-service teachers in colleges and universities across the world right now who want to become teachers. And interestingly enough, in pre-service teachers, there is how many courses on emotional intelligence and well-being? How many courses are available? Yes, they teach SEL, but the research, because this is my doctoral research on emotional intelligence and pre-service teacher programs across the United States. I'm in 29th grade. Oh my gosh, I'm going crazy, okay? But with that said, pre-service teachers, how many programs? 0. Only in Canada, and Arizona just started. And they're not even done. Not one program that we have researched for the past 2 years has said, we teach emotional intelligence. We embed SEL because it's the buzzword of the century, but mental health is not a buzzword. Mental health is a forever word. So if we're not teaching our teachers, and that's why it's important. I know this is a lot to take in, so bear with me, okay? I know it's a lot to take in. But if we are not getting our teachers ready when they first come, mentally prepared for our students, we are not going to be able to handle what our kids bring to us every day. And we know that because we have the content intellect. We are experts in our field, mathematicians, scientists, historians, English language acquisition. We are gurus. We have the content intellect, and our pre-service teachers feel ready. They know how to do a grade book. They understand how to talk to maybe a leader, maybe, but do they have the actual emotional intellect? We know that the younger generation is the most immature in attitude, but the most mature in wanting to do good for our world. Quite the dichotomy. You don't have the emotions to do it, but you have the emotions to want to do it. That dichotomy creates a problem when you want to jump in to a classroom in a Title I school with children from Syria, who out of a little town in front of Damascus, of a war-torn country, they know nothing else but rubble and death. And we're supposed to take on that and teach them English? Yes, but we have to be prepared. We're not. These are the major keys of emotional intelligence, something called Transformative Emotional Intelligence, TEI. Please look it up. Transformative emotional intelligence is basically on Salovey and Mayer's big-time look. It also works a lot with Maslow and Bandura and all the great theorists of talking about self-actualization. What it really is, and I'm just going to give you a quick thing because apparently I only have like 5 more minutes to do this, is that we have all these different little things that turn in our bodies to make us emotionally intelligent. One of them is the value of 2 minds. Not that you have the left brain and right brain. That doesn't exist. Actually, it should be this way, not this way. But you do have 2 minds. You have analytical thought, which is your neocortex, and then you have your limbic system, which is responsible for thought and emotion and feelings and trust. When we react with emotion too much, we have too much empathy and compassion. Did you know having too much empathy and compassion is a sign of bad emotional intelligence? Because it means you are too much on the spectrum here, which means you might lack assertion, which means that you're just this person who cares too much and can create that vicarious trauma and can also create what I call pobrecita syndrome in our schools with ELLs. Whether it be pobrecita, you don't understand English and your daddy's not here because he's still back in Cuba. Okay, pobrecita, here you go, here's a 75, when the kid did absolutely nothing. Empathy is wonderful, compassion is wonderful, but too much TLC, tender loving care, can hinder English language learners, can hinder us because we take on too much of the kids. And when the kid sees that you're more than just that teacher and that counselor, you know they gravitate you and they will open up and tell you everything. And then all of a sudden, you become a psychiatrist and psychologist. Then you come back home and that's with you. TLC should be called tough love culture, not tender loving care. Tough love culture first, then the tender loving care. That's the balance of empathy and compassion with assertion. I love you, honey, but we have standards to take care of. I'm going to teach you and you're going to learn English. Then you can share anything you want on paper in this writing right now. But right now, we've got stuff to do. That's a tough balance as a teacher. And those are the things we've got to talk about in the value of 2 minds. Know your neocortex and know your limbic. Understand. Then we have developing emotionally healthy mind. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you right now, I discovered Chick-fil-A and the Chick-fil-A sauce, and this is why I got baby Joey and his twin brother Giacomo over here, and I'm not even pregnant, okay? I love Italian sausage, but with these Spanx, I don't want to be an Italian sausage, okay? I'm just telling you, I've gained 67 pounds because my emotional healthy mind is not there. I eat my emotions. I eat them, I eat them, I eat them. And I will grab carbs. There was fruit, there was oatmeal, there was yogurt, and what did I do? Croissants and that cherry pastry. Because I will eat the emotions, because I do not have that emotionally healthy mind for me to say that, because of sometimes I get nervous, and when I get nervous, I'll eat. I need to work on that. I'm going to tell you, I'm a closet eater, literally. My husband will say, hey, babe, where are you? I'm just cleaning out my closet. I've got 6 Sweet by Holly cupcakes in my thing with a turvis of coffee. I'm just cleaning out my closet. I literally am a closet eater. because somehow sugar and my addiction to sugar is what's helping me. I had to go to therapy to figure out why. And it was because I was blocking the fact that I can't have children. And I'm surrounded by children every single day. And then I'm surrounded by parents who don't warrant the moniker. And I get so frustrated that I want to take her home and her home and her home. And I want to adopt 12 children on my 27-acre ranch and just have this whole Walton family. And I can't. See this? This is what we have to deal with first before we teach. If we don't, we will not burn out. We will quit. Burnout means I'm tired. Oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Vicarious trauma, compassion fatigue means I'm seeing these children suffer in these homes and I don't get the chance to take care of that kid. That's not fair. So I take it home with me. Those are the things we've got to work with first, my friends. And my story, I hope, will share and be vulnerable to everyone else so that you too get the help and mindfulness and wellness that you need if something is bothering you that's hindering the way that you're teaching children. And if it's the children that are making you with this vicarious trauma, say, Jesus, I think I might have vicarious trauma because I'm taking home this stuff with these kids every day. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a good, beautiful, compassionate, loving, empathetic person that might be too empathetic, too compassionate, that it's gotten to you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. You are okay. With that said, you're interpersonal. You've got to know yourself. You've got to have that inner dialogue to yourself and say, something's not right. Something's not right. Also, you've got to know how you deal with conflict. Yesterday, I had a conflict with another educator. And I know if I didn't study emotional intelligence, I probably would have went New York, Brooklyn on the lady. But instead, I sat there and realized that I needed to be assertive about how I felt about the situation because I lack assertion. I'm usually passive-aggressive and go, I'm sorry, but. But my emotional intelligence has allowed me to go, no, excuse me, I still have a few more minutes left, thank you. And although it might come across to somebody else rude, it was assertive. There's a difference between aggression and assertion. And women who are assertive come across as being what? You know that word, and I'm not going to say it. But assertion is lacking in education, and that's a form of emotional intelligence as well. The more assertive you are, the more emotional intelligence, and the less you will have with problems, because you know where you stand with people, and you know where you stand with kids. That's something to think about as well. Then we also have the leadership. Being emotionally intelligent is leadership. We are a society that thinks with their emotions only. We react with emotion. Look up Mezirow and his transformative theory of reflection. And Mezirow talks about the fact that people are reacting based on their experience and their emotion rather than critically reflecting on something and going, oh. And that's what we need to do. Leadership and emotional intelligence, it's called transformative leadership through emotional intelligence. Look it up. A leader must be emotionally intelligent because that person must understand how to deal with major situations every single day. Have you ever worked with a leader that you just go, I don't know why that person is? And I see a lot of people shaking their heads. One of the biggest misconceptions about emotional intelligence is that it's just about emotions. It's not. It's taking those emotions and using them in your professional manner that will increase the productivity of your day. And it's not just being an emotional person and having control over it. It's to know what to do with them. Leaders need EI in order for that to happen. Self-management. To self-management one person, it's for vicarious trauma, you have to, again, manage yourself. When you find yourself doing too much, forgive yourself and say, stop. I want you to turn to the person next to you and just say, if you could stop and relax and do one thing that is your respite. Mine is the cannolo with the espresso, hanging out with my cat. Maybe yours is on a beach. Maybe yours is fishing. If you do yoga, get out. I'm going to talk about you. But turn to the person next to you and find out what is your respite, what is the one thing when you go, Calgon, take me away, where do you go? Ask. Good. Talk about it. Engage. ¿Tú tienes el tiempo? ¿Qué horas? ¿Qué horas? Okay. Plenty of time. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful. When I say emotional, you say intelligent. Emotional. Emotional. So did you not, some of you still want to talk about it. Do you not feel better just even talking about where you just were? Your brain actually just gave yourself some oxytocin and it just serotonin and it just started to feel better and those chemicals and neurotransmitters are going. That's what leads the self-management to what we have there, self-renewal. If we do not do that, we are not taking care of ourselves. But you have to be honest with yourself. Oh my God, I need a mental health day. These kids are driving me crazy. I gotta go. Doesn't work. You have to say to yourself, and that's why I'm very big on teachers journaling about their day at the end. In your lesson plan, you write a personal journal. What worked, what didn't, how you felt, how the kids felt. Then you look at it and you personally say to yourself, this looks like I need a break. The kids are disengaged. I'm disengaged. I think I need a mental health day coming up. I've got to go to Disney. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now, if Disney's your respite, I am the first to tell you, be honest, have self-awareness, self-management, good leadership, take care of yourself, but do not take advantage. Take care of yourself. You have a responsibility, a civic duty as a teacher to take care of those children the minute they walk into your room. However, just like a flight attendant who says, please put on the mask first before helping others. Give yourself the oxygen to breathe. If you find yourself unable to breathe, you've got to step away. If you still can't breathe, you've got to get help to breathe. Please understand there's nothing wrong with that. Almost every county across the nation has a wonderful mental health hotline. We researched it, but nobody uses it. If you don't feel good, say something. It's okay. You are not alone. But be self-aware to give yourself that self-renewal. The last part is intrapersonal. There's interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. How do you love yourself and how do you work and love with others? Interpersonal skills, intra. Excuse me. There are a lot of people that don't know how to get along with other people. I just did it yesterday, and I saw this woman in my session, and I walked out, and I judged this woman like you'd not believe. I can't believe I did it. Here I am. I'm supposed to walk the walk and talk the talk. And I walked out, and I said, geez, she was just miserable, wasn't she? And I'm saying this all. And I walked up to her because I'm a people pleaser, and I walked up to her to win her over. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, did you like the session? And she goes, I know English. The woman so desperately wanted to understand, so she had this angry face. But she didn't speak English, but she did the best she possibly could and said, I know English so bad, but so happy, thank you. I judged this woman. We need to make sure that we don't do that because I assumed, and you know when you break down that word, you know exactly what happened to me. So break down that word assume, and you know what that means. It's important for us. Everybody is going through something. If you're not going through something, put that smile on your face. Let people know. We all walk around with RBF when we're teachers. We're like this half the time. I'm going to get it. 5 minutes. I'm going to get it. 5 minutes. It's okay. But if you just simply do this, and I know it sounds funny, but if you just do it, this is the routine that I do with my kids when they're having a really bad day. This is in Bay County, Florida. Try not to laugh. Are you ready? Promise me? Repeat after me. Ha! Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! You're out. And you're out. If you can get up to 10 with the kids, they love it. And they start to laugh. Automatically, oxytocin, dopamine, acetylcholine, every single neurotransmitter and little drug that drips out of their mind gets them thinking to open them up to feel better. Whenever you catch yourself maybe having a panic attack, this is how this came about. In the middle of having a panic attack, the word B.E.L.I.V.E came out. I had to think of an acronym. I tell all my students going under pressure, pick a word, make an acronym. Your brain shifts from that limbic to the neocortex for analytical thought and gets you away from the anxiety. Oh, I could help you with every single material that you would need for that. For our kids, for ourselves to be healthy. Smile when you don't even want to. It physically changes your entire physiology. Try your best. And then, of course, to understand emotional intelligence. There are many things out there, from Daniel Goleman's work to Hammond and Lowe's work to Caruso's work. There's a lot there. I'm very into transformative emotional intelligence because it transforms from work to play to home. You become a well-rounded person, not just how you're supposed to act at work. And that's important. And the reason I say that is because it comes into this. Just read so you understand that you can go back and tell people what vicarious trauma is and what it is not. It is a real thing, and if we do something about it, then we will have a healthier school environment. And the reason I know this is because when that girl right there was very upset, one of those boys in that room said, Missy, você não gosta dos seus olhos. Você tem problema com seus olhos. Você tem nuvens nos seus olhos. Você não gosta, Missy. Cadê você? In his first language said, Missy, I don't like your eyes. Where are you? You're in the clouds. Your eyes have clouds over them. And he knew something was wrong with me. It was him, Gabriel, who took me the courage, who gave me the courage to go get the help that I needed, knowing that I was a lot more depressed than I thought I was over the fact that I went to my third miscarriage. I tried my hardest, and I felt defeated as a woman, and I'm still dealing with it. But it was my child, my Gabriel, who told me, Doreen, Miss Dorito, you're going to be okay. We love you. But for a child to recognize I wasn't okay was why I am doing this, and this I must talk about it to everybody. We have got to be healthier for our kids because all we want is to be happy too. Happy teachers, happy students, happy world. Our kids, it's the most beautiful thing when we see happy children, is it not? That's our responsibility. The most beautiful thing in the world is that. Like Shaheda and Parvin, who came to the United States because of political asylum in Pakistan and the Kashmir issue that was going on. And they had no idea what to do, and their father said to me, please, America gave us a second chance at life. Can you please help us and give them an education? What do you say to somebody like that? So you promise them that. And when you do that, we find out that Shaheda and Parvin loved to jump rope. And Shaheda right there was a jump rope champion. She would go 3 miles down the rivers in Pakistan. I'd go 3 feet and fell on my freaking head. But I took her there because I knew she was going through so much after the father explained to me. And without that vicarious trauma, I was not going to let that happen to me. And then they invited me to their homes, adorned me with their saris, and took the earrings out of their ears, put them into mine, and said, you are part of our family now. This is emotional, yes, but this also creates that environment to know our children that prevents the vicarious trauma. If we don't know them and we just know their problems, then that creates the compassion fatigue. We must know them on so much more of a level. Fast forward, she's our master's degree at the University of Massachusetts because of what we do for our kids. And it's interesting because there's her sister who never touched a computer in her entire life, and now she works for a Fortune 500 company in Miami doing IT. And then she would send me, which is amazing, the henna of her wedding because she wanted to invite me to go, Missy, will you come to my wedding in Bangladesh where they go back and work on the water issues in Bangladesh and Pakistan to empower women? And then all of a sudden, she gives me the henna that she had when she was married. And she said, here, you take this. And then I started crying and crying and crying. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, what are you crying? You miss your kids so much? I'm like, no, because my students are getting married before I am. Put a ring on it. 6 months later, he did. Married, yeah. So that happens. But in all honesty, then you have that henna that goes and transcends to different cultures. And the henna, while she works in her office to help in all different ways. And this is the beauty of her now, going on those rivers and lakes and talking about things in the future. Can someone read this to me very quickly? Because she wanted you to do this as well. She thought I was in Ohio, so excuse that. I was in Orlando, okay? So look at what she said. I just wrote to her and asked her to do this, but she thought Ohio, so she thinks it's cold in here. Go ahead. Someone read it. Anybody? And when she said that, no problem was ever solved by silence. To me, she sounds like a new Malala. Because no problem of teacher mental health was ever solved by silence. Hence the reason I'm here at NABE to tell you about the importance of mental health in teachers. And we know that that's important because we have Rockinson, who came to the United States in 2010 after the earthquake, lost everything. And he had 2 ways to go right here in Orange County. He had one way to go on Oak Ridge Road. He could go this way or this way, to the Haitian gangs waiting for him or for the teachers waiting to embrace him. Both wanted to embrace him. Somehow, by the grace of a higher power, he came to us. And when we did this, we found out he had 3 things that he loved: faith, family, and football. He was the reason that Vicarious Trauma started with me. This is the man. He is the man, and he is a man now. He's an Orange County Public School product, and this boy saved me from myself also. I started to realize something was happening, and I was taking on every single emotion and the trauma of the children from Haiti coming to school and what they've endured. And then I said, something's wrong. But when I found out that faith, family, and French, and faith, family, and football were the 3 things, I made him do a persuasive essay to get him to a Florida State game. And he did. And he goes, Missy, can my brother come too? And I said, absolutely, but he's got to write that persuasive essay. And they did a persuasive essay, and we brought other teachers there. And then when Florida State found out, they gave him a tour of the school. First time he's ever been outside of Orlando. And then he went there, and then the band brought them to the field. And they said, touch the goalpost and find out what your goal is. And there's Rockinson. His name is Rockinson. And he picked up the grass, and he rocks back and forth, no pun intended, and says, I got to go to college, miss. I got to go to college. And looks at his brother and goes, and you got to go to college too. And I said, why, Rock? Because of all the ladies? And he goes, no, because of Mr. Schmidt, my favorite teacher. I just took this kid to Florida State. But I'll accept. And he goes, Mr. Schmidt, a Haitian teacher, and if you don't think identity and seeing kids in books and in front of them has anything to do with it, where we must have our children, our people of color must be increased in our classrooms and our schools so that they do not see white savior, they see people like them saving them. And that can increase vicarious trauma, by the way, on kids. But just so you know that Rockinson said, Haitian teacher Mr. Schmidt changed my life. He told me about plate tectonics. And I said, plate tectonics? He goes, yeah. I want to know how earthquakes happen, miss. I want to know why my best friend lost his leg and can't play for Real Madrid. I want to know why my dad died. Missy, I want to know. I want to be a scientist. Will you help me go to college? Will you help me? What do you say to that? And you don't think you can get compassion fatigue from something like that? And so you do, though. You work and you see his Instagram. No one making me work hard, I choose to. You think I'm going to correct that grammar? No. And then all of a sudden you see that he's actually Instagramming his report cards from Oak Ridge High School. And then you start seeing this and it says school before sports, and then he puts an arrow to let him know, Miss Dorito, I only have a C, but I'm getting that up. He is saving me from myself. And then all of a sudden you see him now, part of the Bowtie Boys, who went back from Oak Ridge to go to his old alma mater in 8th grade and to mentor the 8th grade boys who went through the same thing he went through, called the Bowtie Boys. And then look at him now. Is that the most handsome man you've ever seen in your life? This is him now. And we're still in contact. And he has saved me. Do I have children? Yes, I do. Tons. 120 every year for the past 21 years. These are my people. This is him training. It might take him a while, but he's going to get there, and he wants to play ball. So let's do it. Last thing, because I know everybody's waiting. Could someone read this with fervor and passion for me, please? I'll do it. No, I don't want to do it. I really want you to do it. Yes, please, nice, with fervor. Ay, linda. Yep. And those are the moments. Ladies and gentlemen, my time is up, but we must study EQ over IQ. Maslow over Bloom's, right, that people talk about? But emotional intelligence over the intelligent quotient, because we must always believe. And what does believe actually mean? It means to be the educators who lead, to inspire and empower via empathy. Thank you so very much for your time, and always continue to believe. Thank you very much. Sorry that it took so long. Thank you so much.
I want to create a picture of you.